the Olympia. Obviously, we had the Olympia watch party, the viewing party at Carbon Culture in Franklin, Tennessee. That was awesome, wasn't it?
It was a good time.
We had Core Life Eatery. We ordered the food. We paid for it. We don't get freebies here, man. We want to support local business. We had that. We had a donut eating contest from Duck Donuts in Brentwood. Those donuts were amazing. Oh my goodness. Whoa, what a great time. But we were mainly there because one of the owners of that gym is Brandon Curry.
Yeah.
Brandon Curry, okay? The 15th Mr. Olympia. And I thought he'd come back and be the 17th Mr. Olympia as well.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go over, and again, I want to state emphatically that the judges sit at a judging table. They're looking right at the bodybuilders. They see things that we don't see.
Right.
They made the right call because they were the only ones with the view to make the call.
And the criteria.
So we are talking as two people who saw it on an okay live stream. I've seen better, I've seen worse.
Yeah.
On TV in a gym. So when we say this, it's based on what we saw. And also from what we heard. It's not based on pictures that were edited. And it's by no means disrespecting the judges. Because I've judged shows. And it's hard. And nothing's worse than judging a show and knowing in your heart you made the right decision based on what you saw. And then some douchebag online who saw it on a stream saying, oh, these judges are this. These judges, okay. And again, I'm biased because Brandon Curry is my business partner.
Right.
Put it on the line. You don't have any skin in the game. You're just here.
No, exactly.
We're just talking. So, Ramy beat Brandon. What do you think about that?
I mean, personally, from what I saw, and like you mentioned, the judges. This is a tough thing to do. You got the top bodybuilders in the world, the top 5 sitting there, and you're trying to compare which one or each of them.
Different bodybuilders too. You had mass, you had symmetry, you had shape, you had blockiness, you had bloatedness, you had a lot of things going on.
And so, like, for me personally, the way that I look at it is, I'm looking at who can build the most beautiful body, basically.
Yeah.
And a good balance between mass and aesthetics. And to me, I thought personally, and no necessarily any bias here, but I thought Brandon bought the best package personally. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And as far as Ramy is concerned, he's massive. And that's, what he's achieved as far as size is concerned is incredible. Absolutely incredible. But as far as saying that someone has a beautiful body, that's not necessarily the body that comes to mind when I think about that. And not taking anything away from Ramy, of course.
No, he won.
Yeah.
He doesn't care what we say.
Yeah, and he's achieved something that not many people in the world could ever achieve.
16.
Yeah.
16 people have achieved this. That's a in the history of bodybuilding, there's been 16 Mr. Olympias.
Right.
That's an elite club.
Right.
So I would like to say that. So Matt, they can follow you. So where are you located on social media before we get going?
Twitter mainly. My hashtag my username is at Matt_S_Stevens, and I got the same one for Instagram as well.
And OnlyFans. So here's what I see. So let's take away Ramy being bigger. And again, I'm viewing on a TV. So actually, my point's actually probably more valid. Let's take away Ramy being bigger. Let's take away Ramy having huge legs. Let's take away all that. Let's take away structure.
Yeah.
Ramy was watery and unimpressive at prejudging. Now, when I say unimpressive, I mean compared to where he could be.
Definition.
Yes. He was watery, he was soft, he was unimpressive for Ramy standards. At the night show, we're going to have to get druggy here. I'm going to just say something that I'm probably getting in trouble for. But I know how this works. He was soft at prejudging, okay? And again, man, I'm going to get so much hate for this. What I think happened is they noticed he was holding water, and they gave him some extra diuretics. And if you've ever taken too many diuretics, they have an opposite effect. You can't get a pump, you can't fill out, and you can't get veins. You are basically just muscle, but not defined.
Right.
At the night show, Ramy had no striations, no veins, no pop, no pump. He looked smaller I thought he looked smaller than Brandon from the TV. Brandon, who is outweighed by probably 45 pounds or more, looked bigger and more impressive. And Hadi did for sure.
Yeah, Hadi was conditioned.
Ramy not only missed it at prejudging, but he missed it at finals. Let's go to Hadi. I had Hadi in second. Hadi, he just came in and he got better for the night show.
Yeah.
He looked fantastic. Now, the one thing about Hadi, and again, this might get me in trouble, I have him marked down and never winning because he has lumps in places that don't have muscles.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to say why that happens, but I don't like rewarding that.
Right.
You shouldn't have a unicorn dealt head on your rear. Like, it's just weird. Okay? And I think he's a phenomenal bodybuilder. I think he just needs to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Brandon won, in my opinion, of course. Alan, thank you for that line. Alan Roberts is right here hanging out. But, so, Brandon did everything right from 2020 to 2021. Mm-hmm. They said his legs need more size. And while they were still smaller, they were probably 15% bigger than last year.
A little more balanced.
He was fuller, he was harder, he was more vascular, and he was drier. Brandon did everything right. Ramy did everything wrong. Ramy was not good enough to shut the door on that encroachment, on the gains that Brandon made. Again, I was not sitting at the judging table. From what I saw, trying to distance myself from being Brandon's friend and business partner, a guy who vacations with the man, right?
Yeah.
But Brandon's my friend. Like, Brandon lives down the road. Like, we train together, we hang together, we have dinner together, we have business meetings weekly together, even during his prep. But Brandon knows I'm not a bullshitter, and I'll tell him, I'm like, bro, like, your hamstrings got destroyed last year. This year it didn't. His hamstrings were hanging like fucking ham hocks. Yeah. They looked good. I'll be real. Brandon's not 20. I did not expect Brandon to be able to make the gains he made this year. I never told that to him, but I told it to everybody else. They're like, what do you think about Brandon? I'm like, well, if he can bring the hamstrings up, but let's be real, he's in his late 30s.
Do you know how much weight he gained?
I didn't get his weight. Brandy just sent me, I had picked. So you guys got to realize, like, I also, another reason it could be confirmation bias, I'm calling that on myself, is I saw Brandon's progress up until show day. Because again, we're his business partner. So while he was in Kuwait and no one saw pictures, I saw updates every day.
Right.
So I'm biased, but trying to distance myself. Because you're like, you're his partner, of course say that. Yeah, maybe. But I'm also a judge. And I think I can be objective. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm pretty objective with you, like, right? Like, we're objective. Like, he's objective with me. We're objective. Even though he's my friend, I'll be like, bro, what the fuck? You know, it's like, because that's what you need friends to do, right? I even told Brandon, I'm like, dude, if you bring your legs up, like, you're going to win. Unfortunately, the judges saw it differently. So I had my top three, Brandon, Hadi, and Ramy. I didn't have Ramy in third, though. I would have dropped him to fourth. But I'm going to be nice and say that Mr. Olympia should not drop to fourth. Yeah. So I had Brandon, Hadi, and Ramy. Who'd you have top three?
No, that's what my top three would have been as well.
Okay.
And as far as like Ramy is concerned, you know, I've watched live streams both the past 2 years. Compared to last year, not nearly as consistent.
Yeah.
The legs, and like you said, like I think the problem also that he's had in the past has been his abs kind of being flushed. But this year it seemed like it was his legs.
Yeah.
His legs weren't as defined.
It was weird. Ramy's upper body, either his legs got bigger or his upper body got smaller.
Yeah.
Because his proportions were off. And I'm like you, and I'm a bodybuilding purist. Like, and it's been hard for me because I have some genetic flaws. Back in the day, we used to want our calves, arms, and neck to be the same size. Mm-hmm. We used to want to have our quads not too big to overshadow our upper body, our chest and back to be equal density. Mm-hmm. Right now, I think Ramy just looks like you shook up a bunch of body parts and it's Frankenstein. Yeah. Like, I just don't like the look. And again, he's he's amazing. But it's not where I see bodybuilding. Hadi, you take away the weird lumps, and I'm down with that. Like, I can roll with that. Oh, yeah. Just get rid of the lumps. Get rid of the lumps. 4th, 5th, and 6th. Was it Hunter, Nick, and then William, right? Was that it? Was that the 6th? Was it?
I'm not sure who was 6th.
I think it was
but that is 4th and 5th.
Okay, so let's go 4th and 5th because it was top 5. I think they got it right.
Hunter was, I felt like Hunter wasn't as...
No, he was. He looked like a watery mess in the morning. Like in the prejudging, Hunter looked horrible. Again, when I say horrible, I'm not saying I don't want people to be like, you couldn't beat him. Well, no fucking shit, dude. Yeah. Hunter, still, where I've seen Hunter, and compared to the rest of these elite athletes, Hunter was horrible in the morning. He tightened up at night.
Yeah.
So for him, I don't know if you guys ever done this, but like peaking twice for two shows, even if they're 4 days apart, imagine doing it day to day.
It's difficult.
So the coaches have to make a call. For Ramy, my opinion or my guess, my hypothesis is they're like, oh shit, he's wet, he's soft, Diazide or Lasix the night of, and it didn't work. For Hunter, they looked at him, they're like, oh shit, he's watery. Whatever they did worked.
Yeah.
Because he looked much better at the night show. And I bet you they had Nick and him for fourth and fifth, and that Hunter pulled ahead at the night show.
Yeah.
Because they do judge the night show. The Olympia, you judge the night show. It is judged. There has been people who've switched from night, and I think that's what happened. I obviously haven't confirmed that, but that would be my guess. Because Hunter looked like shit in the morning, but man, did he look fucking good at night. He didn't look his best, but he looked good enough because structurally, and I mean this. Nick's an amazing bodybuilder, better than me. Let me state that preface, but I think Hunter structurally will always beat Nick Walker.
Yeah, Hunter's got great lines and whatnot, and
better poser.
There are a lot of people who aren't big fans of just Nick's proportions and whatnot. Still a great bodybuilder, of course, better than me. But,
I think we need to just state everybody's better than us.
Yeah.
Like everybody on that stage is definitively better than us. Difference is most people giving these opinions have never actually stepped on a stage. We literally just got off of one. And we're prepping for another one. So we are actively involved in competing. And we put ourselves up to the standards that we put them up to. And we send each other pictures, and we're dicks like this to each other. So remember, this should not offend any of these guys. And Hadi should be like, maybe I shouldn't have 12 delt heads. Yeah, sorry.
Well, I mean, another thing too is, like, I've noticed that a lot of guys, and Sergio Oliva brought this up in a post recently, where he was talking about how difficult it is to peak, and spilling over or coming in flat, trying to nail it is difficult, especially at that size and at that point. And so, it's difficult for these guys to hit it. And some of them did, some of them didn't. But you see also, like, between shows, or at least among shows that they compete in, how inconsistent they can be, because it is a difficult thing to grasp.
Like, Ian did not come in the way he did for the Arnold. Ian did too much. Too many shows. We know that, right? Yeah. Like, if anybody knows that, it's me. I had to apologize for him for being a dick at North Americans. I was a dick, and I fully own up to that. If there's anything that my friends know is that I will have my moments, but I will sooner or later be like, sorry. But I did too many shows, and at the end, so let's talk about peaking first, and then I think we can. Nobody gives a shit about 6th through 15th. Like, I just don't. I'm very disappointed in how Akeem came in for the Arnold and the Olympia. I had Akeem as 3rd place early in the year, beating Hadi.
But he's one of those that
too many shows.
It's difficult for him to hit it consistently.
Thick skin. He has really thick skin, but so does Brandon. So. And again, I don't have any science for this, but it's really hard if you're a darker skinned individual to get that dry. Courtney has the same issue. Yeah. Like Courtney, my friend Charles, they have the same issue where it's really difficult. Like Caucasian skin, like it's a joke. You got Caucasian dry. Like it's just Dorian graininess, right? Like it's really hard because your skin's, it's evolutionarily thicker for some people. I've done a video on this. People were like, you're wrong. I'm like, no, I don't know if I am. Maybe I am, but I've seen it. Like, I've seen Courtney brought it. But, dude, the last 2 weeks, he fucking had to kill himself. Whereas you and I stay veiny fat. Yeah. There's a difference. There just is. So, I don't even know where I was, but I was on a topic.
Akeem.
Yeah, Akeem, man, I had him 3rd place early in the year. I thought he got screwed last year. I think he came in 6th. I had him in 4th. And this year, both at the Arnold and the Olympia, he missed his mark. And I was getting into doing too many shows. And so So I'm not saying I should have won North Americans, but I have a picture of me backstage pumping up, and you saw me backstage.
Yeah.
Between pump up and getting on stage was 2.5 hours they had to stand in line. So I'm the leanest guy out there, right, by far. So the two guys who beat me, they were not as lean. So they sustained a pump because they had more nutrients and body fat to pull from.
Yeah.
By the time we got on stage, out of my last carb meal fucking 4 hours ago, bro, I didn't have a carbohydrate in my system. Like if I had a pump, it was the last bit that was left. Yeah. I looked shittier on stage than I did that morning or even 2 hours prior pumping up. Because it was such a disaster. This is not, I've never promoted a show. I'm not saying it was such a disaster in the timing of the North Americans, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, we literally, okay, Masters 40 plus light heavyweights line up. And then we stood there for an hour and a half. Then we stood in a cold room for another hour. Then we waited to go on stage for another half hour.
Well, I asked you like the day before, what time do you think I'll hit the stage tomorrow? Oh, probably like 9 o'clock. We didn't hit the stage until like 11:30.
But they told you to line up at 9.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is to peak is extremely difficult. And to do it 2 days in a row is hard. So what these guys have to do is try and time. And at that level, let's be honest, like you're doing things that are time and health sensitive. Yeah. Like it could be loading with insulin. It could be drying out with diuretics. I don't know what they're doing. I'm not claiming that any of them use it. I don't know if they use it. Mm-hmm. I do, but I'm not going to say it on this video. But it's a science.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And it's not because the trainer's shitty. Like, maybe the guy had a bad night's sleep and his body didn't respond to the diazide. Yeah. Maybe the guy, maybe he's going through relationship issues.
Tons of variables.
There's so many variables. So the fact is, Ramy not hitting it. I told you last year, Ramy's not going to come in this year. I just didn't think they'd give him the win.
Yeah.
For Brandon to get better at peaking after peaking like a motherfucker 2 years in a row and Hadi doing the same thing, those are the real MVPs.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Brandon has been one of the more consistent ones. And I'll give it to Nick, too. Nick Walker has been consistent at the shows that he's competed in. Yeah. He has looked good. Like, he's brought the conditioning and all that.
Yeah, he's just structurally, I don't like that direction of the sport. Mm-hmm. It's another video, but I don't think we should be rewarding what he's bringing. I don't think it's a good direction for the sport. I think we should be rewarding Brandon and maybe even Hadi and maybe even Hunter. Like that's, if you could tell where I'm going, I like old school 90s bodybuilding. Like Cormier, Flex, all these guys, gorgeous, like lines and fucking, oh my God. Now Nick looks like a fucking cinder block. Like, let's be fucking honest. And that's amazing, like amazing. But look, man, I think Carrie Underwood lives in my neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Like not in this neighborhood, but like 5 minutes away. Mm-hmm. Carrie Underwood's fucking hot. Okay? If you said, not my type, I'd be like, cool, bro. Yeah. It doesn't mean Carrie Underwood's not hot. It just means that we have different tastes and he's an idiot. So, she's fucking hot.
Who doesn't think she's hot?
Somebody, Nazis. Yeah. Communists. So, that's for Twitter. So, look, man, I think the judges, I want to tip my hat. What a fucking hard show to judge. Yeah. I wouldn't want any of that smoke judging that show. And the people who judged me at North Americans and him at North Americans, dude, there were like 2 points separating first from third place. Yeah. Crazy. That's why I'm like, dude, I lost. Fucked. And I'm like, dude, that was a crazy day. And I look at the pictures, I'm like, shit, you're either going for conditioning and less size. You're going for a fucking, the guy who won, I think his stomach was a bit, pregnant, and I thought actually had me losing to the second place guy. Yeah, I had me in second, and then I had the first place guy in third. But I obviously, like, I wasn't at the fucking table. I'm looking at pictures. Yeah. So the judges, man, this is not a knock to the judges. You guys are fucking awesome. I couldn't do it. All right, Brandon ain't mad. Brandon knows the game. Yeah, he knows it's judged, right? But I don't like the direction of the sport when we're rewarding size at all costs.
Exactly.
I want to see lines. I would rather see Hunter win the damn show. This isn't about Brandon. This is about the direction of the sport. And I think we get dangerous because to get to the size of a Ramy and a Nick, we've seen what happens this year when people take it to that level, man.
And that's the thing, too, is like, it's, to me, it's supposed to represent, like, the beauty of the human body. I mean, we're looking at, like, Greek statues or just aesthetic more than size or mass.
We're not seeing that.
And so it's just, and it's been for like the last few years too. But yeah, as far as that direction is concerned, I really hope that it turns more back towards aesthetics.
We had a phenomenal run though, because Phil Heath is aesthetic as fuck.
He is.
Then we had Sean Roden, who's aesthetic as fuck. Then we have Brandon Curry, who's aesthetic as fuck. And now we have a Cinderblock.
Yeah.
And I mean that in the most loving, respectful way. You know what this reminds me of? When someone comes up to you and says, with all due respect, you know they're about to fuck your shit up. With all due respect, I think you're a piece of shit.
There's no respect at all.
There's no respect. You know when someone leaves with that you're about to get fucking
disrespected.
What do I expect to see next year? I think 1, 2, 3 is going to be exactly the same. And I think we're going to see that till one of them retires. Brandon's in his upper 30s. I haven't really talked to him about this. And even if I did, I wouldn't tell you about it. But I know Brandon doesn't want to compete till he's Dexter's retirement age. Brandon's got 4 kids. Brandon's got a beautiful house. We own a successful company together. He has other things going on. He owns 2 gyms. Like, Brandon's good. All right? Brandon doesn't need to do this. And I think Brandon also, I will say, and I'm going to say this very carefully, and I've really done a bad job at saying things very carefully. I think the reason Brandon hits his peak every year is because he cares more about his health than anybody else on that stage. Dude, Brandon's wife, up until last year, owned a fucking wellness clinic where they did fucking IV drips and fucking weird ass enemas and shit. Like, they're crazy about their health.
Yeah.
Like, Brandon's a big, like, okay, I'm gonna stay healthy kind of guy.
So there's like certain lines that he just won't cross.
Well, I'm saying that when you pay attention to IV drips and glutathione and things like that, it's different than the guy who just wants to take mega doses of drugs.
Yeah.
So while I'm not saying by any means he's natural, I don't know. I'm not going to talk to him about what his medical history, right? That's a big thing right now. I believe in HIPAA. I am saying that he mitigates more risk of being a extreme professional athlete than anyone I've ever met. So when he's getting on stage, he's healthy and he's not taking potentially the steps that other people are taking, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Look at Brandon on stage. Look at his teeth. Look at his eyes. Look at his demeanor. He's visibly more energetic and healthy than anyone else on that stage. Hadi is an entertainer, though. I love watching that guy. What a happy guy. But that's that, guys. Follow Matt. He's a good guy, mainly on Twitter. He'll be on YouTube sooner or later. So your next show is...
next year.
What show? They want to go? You want to go?
I'm considering North Americans again. But we'll see. It depends on how much muscle I can pack on.
Oh, he's packing on muscle. He's 230 right now, making me look tiny at 220. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Follow him. Subscribe to this channel. Notification bell, of course, because I'm shadow banned. And like this video. That's not a game. When people ask me what the most important supplement they can take is, I actually send them a link to a stack. It's called the Immunity Stack. At the end of the day, there's viruses floating around all over the place. We're all going to get exposed to them. The key is not letting them replicate. Here is the stack that I recommend to prevent viral replication. Number 1, your base, Immortal, the greatest multivitamin pack ever created. Put this as number 1. Number 2, quercetin. Okay, quercetin is amazing in that it's an ionophore. It allows other antiviral supplements to be able to permeate the cell and prevent viral replication. Then you got vitamin C. Pretty easy one there. Prevents viral replication. Then you got vitamin D3, which has been shown to improve health and immunity across many populations. And a lot of people are very deficient in vitamin D. And before bed, take ZMA, because ZMA contains your zinc, which is also antiviral replication. It's the Immunity Stack. Available on tigerfitness.com for an amazing price. Get it now.